Thanks again to everybody for being here. We'll have a microphone circulated for questions. Please state your name and your media affiliation when you ask your question. With us today from Princeton, we have head coach Courtney Banghart, Gabrielle Rush, and Bella Allery. We'll begin with an opening statement from Coach, have questions for our student athletes, and then finish with questions for Coach.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank the Ivy League. I mean, they got charged with putting on a tournament, and they did that for a few years down at the Palestra, and they came here and had to do it as well, and they just continue to give us a class event. So I want to thank the Ivy League. I also want to give real credit to Penn. Anyone who watched that game, which all you guys did, but everybody else out there in the country saw two really good basketball teams that play both sides of the ball with great toughness and discipline. So I thought Ivy League basketball is on good display. I thought the two teams are full of great players, and they showed it. I can't say enough about what this team has gone through. I've got two guys that wore a uniform every game this year, and they happen to be my captains. Everybody else at least missed one or often more. And I had to look in Gabrielle and Sydney's eyes all year and say, just trust it and keep going and lead competitively. And you saw today the competitiveness of this group. It doesn't hurt to have Bella Allery on your team. And those people that are just getting to see her, man, come back, because she held another pro in Nalia Parker to 5 for 23 from the field, and that's a stat line that speaks for itself. So obviously we are made up of a whole lot more than Bella, but the year that you've had and the tournament that you had, Bella, I'm really proud of you, and I'm grateful that you're a Tiger. And you guys, I got to say, we've won this a bunch. I've been to the NCAA tournament 8 of the last 10 years, and I got to say, this was not the one I thought. And I did as I started to get into December and January. So this one's really sweet, and you guys deserved it. Congrats.
Questions for our student athletes.
Bella, it was a pretty even game until the last 4 minutes. What was the difference for you guys in the last 4 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, we just decided, it's now or never. And I'm really proud of our freshman, Julia. She hit that huge three for us and, gave us huge momentum going into the rest of the game. We just, put our heads down. We just played the rest of the clock. They're a great team, and they made it a really competitive game. I think we just, at the end, wanted it so much more. And I could tell in everyone's eyes on the court, we wanted it. And I think that was the difference.
Doug?
For both of you guys, the defense in the fourth quarter, you hung to one basket. Was it just effort? Was it something you guys changed? What was the defense there that you guys did to get the win?
Gosh, I don't even know if it's anything tactical, just as much as my voice is gone, but as much as we just wanted it so badly, and I think we just knew what was going to hurt us and where they were going to hurt us, and we really just locked down. I think that's what it came down to. Coach was saying that's what we did the last time we played them. We held them to one basket in the fourth quarter. And, they're a great team, and they're very hard to stop because they're dangerous from every part of the court. And so I think that just is a testament to us not just being a good offensive team, but also a good defensive team and getting the stops when they mattered the most.
Yeah, I'd agree completely with Gab. We just really locked into the defensive end at the end of the game. I think it was back and forth the whole time, but obviously, end of the game, fourth quarter, that's when it matters, and I'm really proud of everyone, on the court who just played so hard and really just locked down all their key players when it really mattered.
Bella, I guess it came out while the game was going on, but you were in that final 8-team discussion for an at-large had you not won. But was there a sense that you didn't want to leave it up to the committee and you kind of wanted to make sure you finished it and got the auto bid?
Yeah, I think I'd heard rumors of that, but I think this matters so much to us. We're co-champions in the regular season, so I think this is proof that, we're, the best in this league this year, and we really did deserve that ticket, and we just played like it. This is this is how we wanted to get to the tournament, is to win the Ivy League tournament. So, win or lose, we didn't really want an at-large. I think we'd rather win this tournament to, make a point to the rest of the league.
Bella, was there any point at which you thought you might not have, they might have you, or you might not have them in this game? And was there a point at which you knew you had it won?
It was pretty back and forth throughout the entire game. I don't really know what the biggest lead was for any team, but it was probably the last 2 minutes or so, and I really did feel that we had really, secured the win when we were going to the free throw line and, hitting those big free throws at the end of the game to just extend the lead. That's kind of when it clicked that, we had won this tournament.
Gabrielle, I don't know if any of us here would have bet on Julia being the player to make one of the game's biggest shots. For her to step up in that moment and take that shot, what did that say about her?
I mean, it's awesome. It just shows the progression that these freshmen have made. And like, you might not notice it, you might not see it every day, but we practice every day. Julia makes those shots very consistently. And they might not be the shots that she takes in games, but I wanted her to take that shot. We all wanted her to take that shot, and we had faith that it was going in because that's the kind of player that she's grown into and that all of the freshmen have. And so I think it's so cool just being a senior and seeing how scared they were and nervous their first few games, and now coming in and stepping up, taking that shot. It's just an incredible feeling.
What was it like for you guys to win this game on a neutral court today as opposed to the previous time when it was not on a neutral court?
I mean, I like playing at Penn. It's a nice court. Like, I don't think that we really considered it that much. I mean, I think it is nice, though, to know that it was neutral this time, so we were really just on an even playing field. And the fact that we played here last weekend, I think, helped a little bit, so we were a little bit more familiar with the gym. I mean, I don't think it really comes into play as much as you would think when it's just two good teams battling it out. And, I mean, it felt like a home court advantage with all of our fans there, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think having all our fans cheering so loud for us made it feel like it was a game in Jadwin. And I think that's, what it came down to for us. We got so much energy off the crowd, and I'm so grateful for everyone who came out to New Haven to cheer us on, to make it feel like we had some sort of home court advantage so far away from Princeton.
Thank you to our student athletes. I'll take you back to locker room.
Thank you.
We'll just talk later. You guys can shower and everything. Okay.
And questions for Coach?
Courtney, obviously, excuse me, obviously Bella is always going to score a lot of points and make a difference at that end.
Yeah.
How important were the blocks?
Yeah, I mean, she played a really complete game, and you guys saw that why we were late is the band started playing, and she started a dance party with the band. So she's just such a great example of what an Ivy League student athlete can be in terms of her collegiate, how much she loves the collegiate environment. But Aaliyah Parker's really good. I think everybody knows that, but not enough people probably. She's exceptional, and Bella is one of the few people in the country that can guard her, and to hold her from. She doesn't shoot from far away, so those are 23 shots that are around the paint, and she was able to disrupt them. It was a short turnaround for the scout because we weren't entirely sure who was going to win the game. So we've watched a lot of film with them over the last today. I mean, I'm sure they're very tired of watching Penn play basketball. But we really locked in positionally. We didn't switch at all. We're a team that switches everything. We stayed every single matchup. And so that every guy had to know one thing, what their guy did. So we knew we had to go to short bench. We knew we had to lock in individually. And her job was Parker. And she said, "I got you, coach." So that's what she says to me a lot, and I just smile.
You had Julia making one of the game's biggest shots all along, right?
Yeah. Well, I will say, I think they say it's a player's coach, and I look at it like instead it's you spend. This was we've had 98 practices, and I spent 2 years sitting in gyms watching her, and so when she misses her layups, I say, "I saw you make that shot 1,000 times, or I wouldn't have taken you," right? And so now's the time. But at the halftime, I made sure that they all knew that if I put you in, it means you have to contribute, and the contribution is what's happening on this sheet of paper. Right, this shows you what your contribution was, and Julia, no one trusts you like I do. So I did have a love fest for her at halftime because I know she can do it. And I told her at one of the breaks during the game, I said, "This game needs your fearlessness. Go be fearless." And I thought she showed her fearlessness on all parts of the offensive side of the ball. Hi, Doug.
Courtney, congratulations on winning.
Thanks for coming.
My pleasure. I don't want to say it's player speak, but when a player goes, "We just wanted it more,"
Yeah.
it's tough to grasp that because I'm sure both teams wanted to win this game.
For sure.
That
Yeah.
fourth quarter, I mean, was it really just you guys wanted it more, or did you actually do something defensively to hold them to a basket and one?
Yeah, I think Bella listens, which is helpful more than she articulates at times. But yeah, we wanted to stay. So what we did is we went over all the ball screens on that wing ball screen stuff, and we asked our post to guard 1.5 and not overstep to let any of those dump down passes happen. And so because they went to a lot of their ball screen stuff in the fourth quarter, and then they ran into what we call the Philly motion, which every Philly team runs. And so we really took another 6 inches towards the ball to try to be in cutting dead space. So there was certainly tactical things, and I just kept looking at them like, "Here, just listen, just stay locked in." And so this particular team, when you don't have so many stars. We've had a lot of stars here. We sort of have one right now on this team, 1.5 in Carly because she was missing for the first half. No one loves her like I do. They trust me. So they just stayed locked in of like what we were doing. So we changed up we were a little more aggressive with our ball screen defense, I thought, in the fourth quarter. And then it was no rebounds. It was either you have a 30-second shot clock violation or it's our rebound. Like that's the only obligation. And I thought they did a really good job of that.
Coach, coming down the stretch, too, you got a lot of production from Carly Littlefield. Can you comment about what she did at the end of the game?
Yeah, absolutely. The kid's a warrior. You know, I told her at halftime, I said, you're a tough kid from Iowa. Play like it, you know. And then also asked her that if you're not necessarily giving us the numbers on the stat sheet, how, as a point guard, how you bring others along is going to be part of your legacy. And so celebrate others and lift others up. But in the meantime, remember how many pull-up jumpers you took in Des Moines, Iowa, right? And she went all the way in a lot, but I guess she was afraid of her pull-up. But yeah, she was huge. We were nowhere without her. So thankfully, second half was a good half for her and therefore for us.
Courtney, what is this team's potential now, do you think?
Who's listening? Is the seating committee listening? I think Bella gives you that. It'll be interesting. Someone else has to deal with her now. Like some other team out there is going to have to deal with Bella Ellery, and everybody here knows kind of what that takes. I think there's a fearlessness that comes from this group. We had a lot of lineups that had 2 freshmen in. We're super young, but with all those injuries, those guys are young, but they have experience. I don't think I would have thought in November. I think my administration trusted me, which I appreciate, but I don't think I would have thought I'd be sitting here at 2-2 in the Ivy League. So I'm just going to keep them locked in, and who we draw. I will watch it to ad nauseum and make sure. I think this team has to be really prepared, and so that will be on me because I know they'll lock in for me. So I don't know. I mean, the tournament's such a beautiful thing. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how the matchup is. I think we've earned a good seed thanks to Penn because they've showed how good they are. So beating them twice is a big deal. A lot of teams don't beat them twice.
Courtney, came out when you were playing that you were one of the final 8 or the debatable 8. So either you're in as one of the last 4, out as the last 4. Obviously, that's moot now because you guys are in. Mm-hmm. How do you think Penn would fare, maybe replacing you guys as one of the 8? I mean, have they done enough you think to deserve an at-large bid for?
Yeah, I mean, I think if anyone who watched that game, the whole point of these tournaments is to give more eyes on your league, right? And so I said to him before the game, this is how it's supposed to be. 2 best teams need to be playing, right? So that happened, which is great. And we have to make it a good game to show what we're about. And so anyone who watches the game, if you're actually looking at the eye test, that's a really good basketball team because it's hard to beat them. They're good at all spots. So, I have to be honest, I haven't really followed because when they were in the non-conference, I was trying to figure out if I had 8 to practice. So I wasn't tracking on the non-conference as much as I usually do. But someone who has her eyes on college basketball is a really good basketball team. I think it's a second-round team, as I hope we are as well. So I think the eye test matters. That's why we're playing this tournament. So I do think they're deserving. I haven't heard of the other 7 teams that are in discussion, but I don't know their strength of schedule. I know that hasn't been a huge priority for them overall, but they've won the teams they've played, and they've beaten Harvard, and they've beaten us, and those are good teams.
Thank you for your time, Coach.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks a
it.
lot. Thanks, everybody.